Hope you're ready for this.
Gonna be fun.
You will not stand in my way.
Frostborn. Hunger. This pleases me.
I do not fear you, mortal.
Your soul shall be mine.
Don't make me laugh.
Who needs a brew? Oh, I do. Feel a shredding, baby. Let the battle begin.
Welcome to the 39th episode of Trollin HGC, a Heroes of the Storm podcast focused on esports and a member of the Trolls.gg Entertainment Network. I'm your host, LiQuiuD, and I'm joined today, as usual, by Bahgz. How's it going, man?
What is going on, my man?
Not much. Just getting back into the swing of things. We had a nice full week of HGC last weekend and got another week of it today, or this week. Today, too. I watched Open Division all day today, so, you know, lots of HGC. We're back and off of the weird weeks when there is no HGC on.
Yeah, so we are back in full swing of everything. Full Heroes esports all the way, all the time.
Yeah, it makes me happy, man. I'm glad we're back. But before we jump into everything, do you want to update everyone on Patreon?
Can do. So we have a Patreon page. It's at patreon.com/trollsgg. We share it with the Nexus Trolls and as well as the writers on the trolls.gg website. So basically everything that goes into that helps us produce more content and try and improve our quality if we can. Currently, we are at 27 of $25. So we have officially reached our first goal. I don't have the website up right now, but I do know that it's after show games after every single show. I was not aware of this until about 5 seconds ago. So
I did set you up for that a little bit. I didn't say anything. I just kind of slid it in there just to see how
I am ready to play some after show games tonight, but that comes as a pleasant surprise. So that's great. I'm ready. I'm happy to hear that. So big shout out to those who have pledged their support to us. It's a big deal. It goes a long ways towards helping us provide more and higher quality content for you guys, the listeners and the viewers. So thank you.
That's also what we use to feed into the challenge we have. So the winner of the Phase 1 Part 1 challenge received a $20 BattleNet card. And the winner of the Phase 1 Part 2 challenge will also receive a BattleNet gift card. So definitely check that out. You can find the links to the challenge on our Twitter at TrollsGG, and that'll actually be put on our website later today.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a big shout out to what was it, Schizo who got the first one?
Yes. Schizo got the first one, and actually Schizo is no longer eligible because now he's a full-blown troll. So that was the last one he could possibly win.
So some would argue he was always a troll, but now he's got to be official answer.
That's true. That's actually a really good. He has always been a troll. Speaking of trolls, our troll of the week this week is someone that you have talked to a number of times. So I'm going to let you do it.
Trolls me.
I mean, you picked wrong last weekend. And he called you out on that on Discord, but that's all right. I'm gonna let you introduce.
All right. So this week's troll of the week is YitBoss, manager of the Despicable 12. No, seriously, manager of Team 12, formerly known as Roll20, formerly known as Team 8. They were North America's best team last year. This year, they are competing with Tempo Storm for that mantle. He's also, he's been a long-time follower of the show, great supporter of the show. He's guested on the show. He's an active member of Reddit and basically the Heroes community. So, you usually don't hear a lot from the esports community on the comings and goings. YitBoss is very active and will share his opinion readily. And he would just wanted to, I didn't give him anything to work with when he was trying to pick on me in Discord this past week after Team Freedom got smoked by Team 12. But kudos to you and your team, YitBoss. You know, the Despicable 12 got their victory this past week.
He even called you out after looking at the who picked which team to do what, and was like, "Man, really, Bahgz?" And everybody, I mean, me and either Goon or Schizo were like, "Yeah, Bahgz is a Team Freedom diehard. That's how it works, man." So, but thank you, Yip Boss, for everything that you do in the community. So you want to jump into some news?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Tonight on the Trolls.gg podcast network, Trollin HGC proudly presents Heroes Esports News, Notes, and Drama with your hosts, LiQuiuD and Bahgz.
Yeah.
All right. So only a couple of little things in the news this week. HGC ANZ had to plan a new patch, which kind of bothers them. They don't have a tournament realm. They are a quote unquote Premier League now. There's Open Division and there's also Premier League. New patch got pushed out, and 12 hours after that patch went live, they had to play matches. That patch. As
I currently understand it, they do have tournament servers there, but they are not using them for the online league.
Yeah, it's something weird.
I believe weird. They use them for like the LAN events, but it's
right.
Yeah.
So they're not updated, if I remember correctly, either. Right.
So which is a shame because again, playing on a brand new patch 12 hours after it's released is like brutal. Especially like, you know, I don't know what hour the patch gets released in Australia, but like if it's in like the middle of the night, you can just slash that time in half. You know what I mean?
I think it was. I'm trying to like pull up and do math in my head, which is not working so well based on when this was. Yeah, I think it was like 1 a.m. Australian time, or it was near there. Like, right. So it may have been 11 p.m. or it may have been 3 a.m. type thing. It's like somewhere in that range, but it was definitely nighttime when that came out. So that's brutal. And you know, Latin America was having the same problems, right? That was one of the complaints that Latin American players had as well, that they were stuck in that. In other news, Heroes of the Dorm, the bracket challenge closes tonight. It is back, but it closes tonight, March 27th at 11:59 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, because now we're on Daylight Standard. I hate.
Yeah, the timing was kind of tough for that because the bracket was revealed
last week.
Sunday after, you know, so after we did our show, and we were, you know, we have a group. I guess we should mention, right? So if you are looking to join a group and you've gotten out of your way to fill out a bracket, we have a group called it's the Trolls GG group, and search for it. You'll find it there, and you can join us in and you know, kind of just see how you stack up against the trolls. It's a little bit of a bummer. It's just I just feel like I guess it's no different than the NCAA tournament where they, you know, selection Sunday happens and then the games are being played Wednesday. So I guess it's not that different. I just wish there was more time between bracket being revealed and like deadlines. That's all.
I did add the group link to our show notes. So if you want to grab it that way, you can. Or if you go to the Trolls at TrollsGG on Twitter, you can find the link there. It's like the 5th or 6th tweet down. I will try to pin that later today.
And I threw it in chat for everyone that is viewing. So
there you go. All right. Unless you can think of some news that I missed.
Jason is taking a breather. I don't think that was official when we did the show last week. I don't know exactly what date that was dropped.
Right. Okay.
Jason's taking a break from Heroes. He's being replaced by, I'm trying not to get the two moves that got mixed up, but I believe he's being replaced by Jin. That one is Jin. So,
and then today on stream, oh man, I should know this. Somebody actually said that Jin is staying, and they like the offer. I can't check though. It's in Discord that someone posted, but I think Jin is actually going to stay for the rest of the
split. I believe I saw that in our Discord actually. So.
It was definitely in our Discord. I just don't remember.
I think it was Super Dave who was filling us in on that one.
So yeah, congratulations. I guess the right thing to say there is congratulations to Jin.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, man. You've got your big shot, man. Grab it and run with it.
Take it and run. Absolutely. All right. So I think that's all the news. Anything else that I'm missing?
I think that's it. After that, I've got nothing for you.
All right. Well, let's jump into some results.
We're going to see Stitch's fall as well. It's going to be a 1-for-1 trade. It's a 1-for-1 trade as we once again have the Dragon Blade used on the side of Genji. He's trying that in. Dashes out. Sail yellow.
That was just about the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life.
It's a dance party and you're invited.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to HGC Western Clash.
Right. So we got some results for you guys. We are going to start with HGC ANZ. I don't know how closely you may or may not have been following this, but ANZ's actually been pretty good. First 4 weeks have been finished, and so now we're moving into a pause until next week, April 3rd, when weeks 5 through 8 run. So I'm just going to go over top 3 real quick of ANZ. Definitely check them out. The top 3 teams are actually pretty solid. It should be good. It should be interesting to see what happens when they go up against Latin America. But we have Nomia in first place, Outlaws Gaming in second place, and Crimson Gaming coming in at third place. What do you think? Have you caught any of the games? Because I've tried to watch some of them. They're pretty good, other than the time being like.
I haven't really been able to catch ANZ. I caught more of it last year, or at least the lands last year.
Right.
But I haven't been able to catch much of the regular season here.
Okay.
I think it's pretty cool that a lot of they're not all like official orgs, but it's nice to see that there's a lot of gaming organizations picking up the teams.
Right.
There's only one left without a logo, which is Quick Match Warriors. The funniest thing, my takeaway here though, is only the top 3 teams have a winning record, and the other 5 have losing. I'm not even sure how that maths out, but the other 5 have records. I think it's because of the 2 game sets, maybe, but
yeah.
it's,
well, that's definitely affecting them. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's Downfall Gaming sitting at 3 and 4. I just thought it was funny. That's all. I mean, not really funny.
It's
I
an
guess.
interesting little
interesting.
yeah. It's an interesting little thing, right? They also have an open division running at the same time, and they're going to do promotion relegation between ANZ Premier League and ANZ Open Division. So it's like a little mini cosm of what we get with HGC, which is kind of cool if you have time to watch it. Definitely check it out. Some great casters, including Vandy, who was just at Western Clash, and Skimmy, who did BlizzCon. So definitely go check those out if you have time. Even if you watch the VODs, check them out. There's some interesting play going on there. All right, moving over to Korea last week. Nothing like I hate to say it this way, nothing stood out to me at all from Korea.
Yeah.
I really feel bad saying that, but like the teams we expected to win, the teams we expected to lose lost. Like I was looking at the scores from last week's challenge, and when I looked at Korea, there were very few people who got any of the predictions wrong.
Yeah.
It was like one game out of like 40 where somebody got something wrong in Korea this week.
There was really only one contest that was kind of like a toss-up, and that was the Tempest Ballistic set, and that was a really back and forth set.
Yeah.
That Ballistic won ultimately 3-2, but
that cost me points.
And then like I guess Gluck, you could Ace was a little more competitive with Gluck than you would have.
Yeah.
Right.
Ace.
That was more competitive than maybe you would have expected, just because Gluck was the best of the new teams coming into HGC Korea. But other than that, a lot of them were very lopsided, and that's kind of like Korea in a nutshell. There's like the big 3, and then there's everyone else, right?
Well,
now it's Blossom's a little closer now to the big 3 than they've ever been before, but
100%,
they're like
yes.
Basically they've just kind of like taken on the old mighty role essentially.
So if I'm looking at this right, only one person got Ace Gluck wrong, 2 people got Tempest Ballistic wrong, and the rest of Korea was success. Oh, nope. One person got Gluck versus KSV wrong. I'm not sure how they did that wrong.
It must have been an accident. Like that's the only thing I can think of. Or they're huge Gluck fans.
But Gluck versus KSV? No. Not only that, they 3-0'd it, so it had to be a reverse reading thing. Because there's no way someone was picking Gluck 3-0 against KSV, right?
Maybe they just despise KSV.
Typo?
I don't know.
That's weird. Anyway, so but that's how predictable Korea was this past weekend.
Right.
Most people predicted it correctly. So, you know, there's just not a lot to talk about in Korea other than, you know, they did what they needed to do and we got the games we got. They were fun to watch. I watched all 6 of them this weekend. Well, the first set I usually missed live and went back and watched it, but the second set of the day I watched live and then went back. Great games to watch. Check them out. Especially the Tempest Ballistic series. Still bummed that it went the way it did. I was in the minority there. Oh no, that's right. I picked it right, but I didn't want it that way. I got my points, baby. Sorry. Anyway, let's move on to EU, shall we?
Let's do it.
Yeah. All right. So EU, there were 3 things that jumped out at me this weekend in EU.
Okay. Yeah.
Team LiQuiud taking Dignitas to 5 games.
And not just that, they had Dignitas on the ropes. They were up 2-0 in that series, playing exceptionally well. And Dignitas had to claw their way back into that match and pull off the reverse sweep to win. That was really impressive as far as I'm concerned.
And to be fair to Dig, too, they looked much better in the later half of that set.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. Nabby, I know you're in chat if you want to add something. Something happened. And they did not look as good the first 2 games. They looked much better the last 3 games.
They were hiding strats.
And maybe that's all it was, right?
First week back from Clash, hiding strats for the midseason brawl.
It's always possible, man. Always possible. Or you know what? Maybe somebody had something bad for lunch. You know, things happen, right?
Apparently they passed it after the first 2 games, and they were feeling a lot better for the next 3.
And that's another good point, right? Nabby's pointing out Team LiQuiud really showed up. So, and they did. LiQuiud actually looked better all weekend, right? Like, or I think.
Well, they only played 1 game, so
but they looked good in that game.
It's hard to say that like they made some changes. Zeus I remember I saw a tweet from Zeus. This day, this was Friday, so I was actually off from work this day. I watched the games all day that day. Unfortunately, I had work Saturday and Sunday, so I've been catching up on VODs. But these I got to watch live, which is always a much better experience. And I saw Zeus tweet that out, that the guys have put in a lot of work post the Clash, and they're still improving and still working on it. They're not quite where they want to be, but that, you know, the loss to Dig, but it was a moral victory and definitely a big step in the right direction for them. So I'm very curious looking ahead at week 7. They have 2 matchups against direct competition ahead of them in the standings, and I think Trick's right behind them. So it's going to be a really, really big week for LiQuiud, week 7. That is, like, they can make a big leaps, and you know, they could leapfrog some teams in the standings. If they manage to win both their matches, and we get a much better idea where they stand as a team. That being said, we could also walk away from week 7 and be like, still like shaking our heads, like, what happened to that Misfits roster that used to just be so good? You know, like
it's crush everybody,
right? Like, so we'll see. I am hoping for the best for them, because it's just something. I just have a thing for, I don't know, like the fallen star redemption story type thing, and I want them to be good again. I just want to live in a world where LiQuiud is a top 3 EU monster again. That's all.
Fair enough. How about Leftovers taking Method 3-2?
Dude, I don't even know. Like, unexpected. You know, Lauber, you know, shout out to Lauber, fan of the show, guest in the show, captain and tank for the Leftovers. Like, dude, Method, I don't know what's going on.
That game made my day.
One of the clips we have in today's show is Diaby like absolutely like deleting Schwimpy when he's on Medivh, like craziness. So like, I'm very, very, very happy that they got the win. I don't know if the team made massive improvements, because they did lose to Zealots the next day. And yes, there was the second match on a back-to-back weekend. but and it was Zealots who are playing a lot better now.
Yeah, I'm gonna say like Zealots. In my opinion, Zealots is better than Methods. So
yeah, but are they? I don't know. I just did the Leftovers win as much as like Method is like free falling right now. It's too soon to say, but like after Method like really disappointed at the Clash and now that they've lost to the Leftovers, like that's a really hit or miss roster right now. Like I don't know. So I'm looking forward to next week to get a better gauge of where Method stands because they play Zealots and LiQuiud, and that's similar to like LiQuiud. It's a big weekend for them. Leftovers, unfortunately, like until they play like Diamond Skin or Tricked, it's gonna be rough to see how much they've improved. Beating Method certainly means that they've done something right. Losing the Zealots, no shame in that. They play Dig next week, so don't expect a win there. You know.
Well, so what's interesting to me is somebody in our chat had asked, somebody in Discord had said, LiQuiud, why did you pick LiQuiud over, hold on, I want to get these picks that I have right. Why did I pick Tricked over Team LiQuiud, but then Team LiQuiud over Method? And I feel like I'm messing something up.
You're looking at next week already?
Yeah. But my point was I felt like, oh, that's right. Why was I calling Tricked over LiQuiud when everything else had happened? And you know, I kind of want LiQuiud to win, and I want LiQuiud to come back like you had said. And at the same time, I feel like Leftovers played exceptionally well, and Method is on a strong decline right now. I've said from the beginning of the season that something about Method's roster wasn't clicking for me, and that I thought that they were overrated when everybody was high on Method. And I feel like we're hitting this spot where that's starting to show. So that was a long way around. I apologize.
That's okay.
And then the last thing that jumped out at me was Diamond Skin absolutely blew me away, taking Tricked 3-1. Like, what just happened? That was, I don't know. Yeah.
So I didn't get to see this match, and the result really shocks me, to be honest with you. Now Tricked is notorious for getting tricked, right? Like, so like, like literally the hashtag is get tricked, right? So like they either, and they're fan, and they play, they play into the role of like, they know they're an inconsistent roster, and they have sometimes have trouble harnessing that, like that consistency. Right. Like when they play well, they play exceptionally well, and they beat big time rosters in EU. And they play bad, like face palm bad. You know what I mean?
Right,
like
right. Yeah.
And I don't know. I didn't get to see it. So was it like a get tricked? They get tricked themselves. Like, did they just play bad that day? Like you know, Alex the Pro G, where you at, man? Let me know. But
I'm gonna go with they played bad that day. I don't remember seeing anything that was like cheese. I think they just played. They got outplayed.
So, and then another thing is like Diamond Skin it's a don't sleep on it roster, right? So like,
right.
We all know that EU is a very deep region, and 2 through 7 is very competitive. So again, like it could have just been, it could just be a factor of that. Like, yeah, Diamond Skin seems to always be on the wrong end of really close matches, but they are right up there in competitiveness with Tricked.
And Diamond Skin having brought in Robodoba and Roskmeg, like those are two people that are less used to the EU competition, right? Roskmeg because he was a Hero League champion before coming into HGC. Robodoba because he played ANZ or coming into there has to be some sort of adaptation time for that, right? Like,
and that's the thing, right? So there was scrimming preseason, then there was the first 5 weeks of the season, then there was more scrimming during the Clash while everyone's away, and so now that it's getting to the point where they've been on this roster for 4, maybe 5 months. You know, we're getting into April where they joined the roster in December and January. Right?
Yeah, but you know they took time. All the teams took time off during the Gold Club and stuff.
My point being is that now it's not as fresh, right? Now they have settled. They have had time to settle in, and maybe we're starting to see the results of that. They took a game off Zealots, you know, like,
yeah.
Is there a moral victory there? I think so. It's hard to say, but I think so. It's, you know, Zealots. after what we saw from the Clash, I think it's probably the second best team in Europe. We won't know until they play Fnatic in week 8. But
Dicey, you know I love that call. I
listen,
I agree. I think you and I just disagree on who the number 1 team
we
is.
will have a better gauge of where the Zealots stack up after week 8 because they play Method next week, and in week 8 they play Fnatic. And that's actual, like, you know, much stiffer competition than what they face this week in Diamond Skin and the Leftovers. But
one, if you look at Zealots, week 10 will be telling for Zealots as well. Week 10 they're playing Dig. You know,
and they'll have played everyone else at that point. So yeah,
right. Week 10 is going to be the sweet spot for them. I look forward to that.
That's going to be hopefully those teams aren't Nabby, if you're still here, hopefully you guys are still on a collision course for each other at that point, right? So like Zealots have beaten everyone up until that point. Dig has beaten everyone in EU up until that point, competing for that sweet mid-season brawl seeding, you know?
Yeah.
So. Oh, Sasa, I hope I didn't say number 1 because that's not what I meant. I was saying
no, that was me. That was me saying you and I disagree on who's number 1. Because you know how I feel about it.
So
they keep letting me down, but I keep going that way. I don't know why. It's like a gambler throwing his money away after a losing whatever. Let's jump over into NA, shall we?
You just don't know when to cut your losses.
That's I don't, man. I love Fnatic. Keep letting me down though. All right, NA. So we got Team 12 3-0ing Team Freedom. I thought Team 12 was gonna win.
Wait, didn't we make a bet last week?
Yeah, you don't have to buy the jersey because Fnatic didn't win.
Whew. That's right. It was, that's right. Now I remember it was a one-sided bet.
It was a one-sided
I couldn't remember
bet.
the details of it. It was very one-sided.
One-sided.
You had nothing to lose and I had everything to lose. But that's how confident I was in Dig beating Fnatic. And I'm glad that was paid in spades with Dig winning 3-0. I do want to talk about that for a second.
Okay.
I don't want to rub your nose in it, but I do want to mention.
No, that's all right.
No, so Dig won 3-0, right?
Yep.
And we are used to the last year where Dig and Fnatic would go the full 5 and it'd be extremely competitive. I will say this, all 3 matches were very competitive and it came down to just some late game decision making where Dig made the right decision or won a decisive team battle to win the match. It could have easily gone Fnatic 3-0. So I will say that. And I could have easily been the proud owner of a Quacknick jersey. So
I mean, I will say I agree with you. Nobody had that going 3-0 in our predictions. Nobody. Everybody thought it was going at least 4 games, if not 5 games.
Yeah.
So the 3-0 was surprising. That's not true. There's apparently somebody. Bahamut is more of a Fnatic fanboy than I am because he was going 3-0 for Fnatic to win.
Woo!
Woo-hoo! Yeah.
Wow.
But no, it's a thing, right? Like they look really. Dig looked really good. Those games were really close, though. I enjoyed watching those games, even though Fnatic didn't win. It was fun to watch. Definitely check out that series. Haven't.
I will say here's an interesting question, and I already know how you feel about it, but I want to discuss it a little bit while we're still in EU. Fringe is saying in chat that he thinks Fnatic is done. He thinks that there's a lot of dysfunction within the team. How do you feel about that? What do you now? We're not behind the scenes. We're not the reality TV cameramen following the roster around. All we can see what is happening in the games and just kind of infer some decisions based on what we see on a screen.
Okay.
What do you think? Do you think they're done? Do you think that the team is struggling to be cohesive, or do you think?
Okay. My personal opinion. First, I disagree with Fringe. I think they play great with Quacknicks. My personal opinion is.
Do you want the hater shades?
No. I just have to figure out how. Okay. Going from Wubby to Bad Benny, downgrade. No matter how you look at it. It just is. And I know that wasn't like the specific, they weren't like, we're going to swap these 2 players, right? I'm just saying, going from Wubby to Bad Benny, Fringe is going to hate me, is a downgrade. Because Fringe loves Bad Benny, but that's a downgrade, man.
Listen, all said that. Now, and when I say
Yeah.
we, I mean like Reddit, the majority of Redditors, you and I both on the show,
Yep.
kind of like planted our flag and stamped our feet and said, this is, you know, going backwards. And Quacknick's made the tweet longer, and everyone in the scene is like, listen, sometimes you got to make moves because, you know, guys have different play styles or different opinions on how they want to do this. And I'm like, but at the end of the day, the job's got to get done, right? Like, you know, maybe we're all like, it's all smiles and sunshines and like we're all high-fiving, but it's winning's winning and losing's losing. And that's a black and white, like there ain't no arguing that. And that's what's happening, right? Like Bad Benny is not performing as well as Wubby did in that role, regardless of how the team felt, you know, cohesively and how they functioned together with Wubby on that roster.
I'm going to apologize to chat and to our listeners right now. I'm really bad at remembering people's faces. Okay. I just am. I'm horrible at it. Romaz in chat brought up a really important point, and I want to highlight this point by saying, did you see the Oracle video where Breeze was hanging out with, I think it was Schwimpy, between games? They're just chilling on the steps, and Breeze, like, you can tell Breeze misses him. Like, you 100%.
Oh, from the Western Clash.
Yes, from the Western Clash. You can look at that video and be like, Breeze misses him, and you can tell. Like it's noticeable, right? And so there's an emotional thing. I think there's an emotional. What Romaz says is Wubby and Schwimpy were the emotional pillars of Fnatic, and they're gone. I absolutely think that there's some truth to that. But the problem is, I think ignoring the emotional side, and I think the emotional side helped them win at times. But when you take Wubby away for Bad Benny, and when you swap Schwimpy for Mene, for whatever the reasons, Mene is a good mage player. Mene is not the right player for that team, in my opinion. I'm not sure who I'd swap him with, but I don't think it's Mene. Bad Benny, great tank, not the best solo laner.
That's, you know, Fringe mentioned it in chat, trying to defend Bad Benny, and he's right though. And that was part of our reasoning too. It wasn't just bringing in, you know, another Swede, which is great. Like, because that's before we knew Mene was joining the roster. We're like, okay, so another Swede, that makes sense, right?
Right.
But it doesn't make sense. Now he's switching roles as well. So it was like, it wasn't just like a solo laner for a solo laner, and it was like, okay, maybe he won't be as great as Wubby was, but now it's like, now he's playing a new role as well, and that's a huge change at the top of the iceberg where they are. Like, you know, a very small difference in ability or experience is magnified at that level. You know, the difference,
right.
Let's, you know, maybe like, it was a big ask for them. And and it was a big gamble because, and I get it. They made the changes because they felt like what was holding them back was some sort of team dynamic that wasn't working, and they were ready to do something new because we want to be the best team it's a first or last mentality, right? And that's fine because they're very, very good because they have nowhere to go but be first place, right? When you're the second best team in the world, if you want to be the best team in the world, it's like, well, we can throw exactly what we've thrown at them the last 2 years and lost with, or we can mix it up. And they did. It's just felt like the moment they made those moves, like I had no issue with them making moves, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe, I don't know, I probably did initially, but I get it. Like, in retrospect, I've cooled off. I get it. I have no issue with you making the moves, but my argument for the moves that you made, that what was wrong about them then is still, you haven't proven me wrong yet, right? Because the concerns I had then are still there. So, and I don't know, you agree. So we're arguing over a moot point right now. We're just trying to defend ourselves.
I keep hoping, for some reason, I keep thinking they're going to get it back together and they're going to fix it. It doesn't seem to be happening though.
They're going to make changes after the midseason brawl. It's because unless it clicks now going into the midseason brawl and they're having a spectacular performance there, we're going to see some changes to try and find something where that team synergizes better than it is right now. So
Agreed.
Maybe they'll get they'll get Sonic the Beast in there. Who knows?
It's always possible. All right. NA now?
Yes, sorry. Let's move on.
That's all right. NA.
I didn't even think that was going to devolve into that, but it did.
It's all good, man. That's why we have a show. All right, so in NA, the couple things that really jumped out at me. Let's start with Team 12 3-0ing Freedom. I expected Team 12 to win. You did not, but that's okay. The more important thing here is it was a 3-0, which, again, nobody predicted.
I think that says a lot more. So let's listen. You've got Fnatic, and I've got Team Freedom.
Yep.
And we'll both be looking at our wins from that one. I expected Team Freedom. I expected Team Freedom to win in a 3-2. I did not get to take notes during these videos. I watched them while I was working on other things a little bit yesterday and a little bit today. I was running around looking at houses again today. Spoon and I are in the process of trying to build a house, and so we're visiting different builders and floor plans and prices, and it's a little overwhelming.
Right.
Anyways, back on topic. So I didn't get to watch the game as closely as I would have liked. From what I could tell, and it's one match sample size, but kudos to Yip Boss. It seems like Team 12 is finally starting to click on that cohesion that they seemed to have last year, where it's just like someone would make a mistake and they would pounce on it immediately, aggressively. That team was known for last year picking someone off who was out of place, just one misstep, bursting them down and snowballing that advantage. That was what they did.
Right.
And that, to me, that is what I felt like I saw against Team Freedom. Now, Team Freedom is a more macro-oriented team than they ever used to be way back last year. They have changed that team dynamic. And unfortunately, they were never able to press that. And Team 12
the macro doesn't the macro doesn't work when the micro destroys you every time, right?
The macro doesn't work when you're missing when you're missing a player, right? So
right.
Listen,
exactly.
I know tomorrow, I believe it was on both times on Infernal. I think No Tomorrow tried to similarly execute the strategy that led them to beating them pre-clash.
Yep.
Team Freedom played a little bit better, and No Tomorrow played a little bit worse, and that didn't work this time around. Unfortunately, Team 12 employed the same strategy of just playing exceptionally aggressive against Team Freedom. And since they're a better team than No Tomorrow is, they were certainly able to execute it, and it worked. So, kudos to Team 12. I really do, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Team Freedom was having a bad day. Maybe the game's more competitive than my silver level, gold level I could see, which is fine too. I think Team 12's turned a corner. Now, again, it's one match, but it's one match against a top tier North American competition. And I think Team 12's
the truth, man.
I think they've turned a corner. I think Team 12, whatever wasn't clicking pre-clash, it's clicking now. And that's exciting. And that is exciting because it's because in week 8 they play tempo, and that's the matchup everyone wants to see.
Right.
Because it's what we were expecting to get 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, like
well, and like
now we're getting it.
The interesting thing, so my wife always watches the Team 12 games with, and even she noticed that they looked 100% better than they have in the past. I don't know why I said it that way. She watches Team 12 closely, but she said something about them looking better now than they have in the past.
Right.
I should say. All right, and then we have Heroes Hearth 3-2ing GFE. Are they continuing their march top? Is that what we're seeing here?
I want to see them play Team Freedom to get a real litmus test of where they're going. Are they the 4th best team in North America? Or are they actually going to try and crack that upper echelon of North America, right? So are they just like a team that's a little better than Gale Force, and at this point probably a lot better than Simplicity?
Well, what if they beat Team 12 this weekend?
If they if they beat Team 12,
Yep.
then I have like severely discounted how well they played at Western Clash. Because like I'm not I fully believe that Method is just in a tailspin right now, and that was more Method losing than Heroes Hearth. Right.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Because of the Clash. Because of the Clash. They beat
yep.
Method at the Clash. Right?
Right.
So I'm discounting the Heroes Hearth results at the Clash. And maybe I shouldn't be. I just don't want to jump in fully on that bandwagon just yet.
No, that's perfectly fair.
So I think, like, personally, I think they are still the fourth best team in North America. I think they're better than Gale Force. I think the results speak for themselves in that regard.
Okay.
I just think that there is, instead of like right there with Team Freedom, I think that they're a little further behind them. You know, I think there's a little bit of a gap between the top three and Heroes Hearth. That's all. Now, that's going to get answered very quickly in the next coming weeks because, listen, next week they play Team 12. The week after that, they play Team Freedom. We're going to find out, you know, how they stack up against that.
And then they play Tempo Storm the week after that.
The next 3 weeks
the next 3 weeks for Heroes Hearth are, where do you live? Where are you really?
Yeah. Where do you belong? So we're going to find out where they belong. And we're going to find out fast. So am I discounting too much? Like, I don't know. I
struggled with this.
I am, but we'll see. What do you think?
A lot. I struggled with it. I love Team 12 and I love Heroes Hearth. This is not the week for me because I want both of them to win and only one of them can win. That's just the reality of my situation, right? Like,
yeah, I got my Heroes Hearth shirt. I can grab it. I'm not picking them, but I can grab it for moral support, I suppose.
All right, and then the last one that jumped out at me, LFM taking Simplicity to 5 games and just barely missing that win.
Yeah, so LFM,
I wanted that so bad, man.
They were up 2-1 too, man. That's the depressing part about that. Like they just needed to win one more map. And they lost to Catapults on Volskaya, right? Like,
yeah.
Come on. So like Hero, I don't know if you play Hero, I don't know if you play good coach, bad coach, but you got to be bad coach this week. Whip them back into shape. No,
it was so close, man.
Kudos to LFM because I didn't get to finish watching the Tempo Storm LFM series, but I did get to watch the first 2 games. LFM won game 1 and game 2. Game 2, they were in the lead and ultimately lost, but they were winning that match, right? So kudos to LFM, who I think have improved a ton. I'm super disappointed and super bummed that they lost to Simplicity, who are playing with a sub after losing Urho.
Yeah. A
team that is probably the other, like, LFM has a unique opportunity that Even in Death never had. Sorry that you guys keep getting compared to them. Fact of the matter is, you made it into the league the same way. You're not going to be able to escape that.
Right.
Simplicity lost a player halfway through the season. Urho got suspended. They had to pick a player up on the fly. Same thing with No Tomorrow. Jason decides to quit halfway through this. I shouldn't use the word quit, but he's not with the team anymore. Same situation. They lost the player as well. Now they're playing with Jin halfway through the phase. They have a unique situation where they're still relatively close to these teams in the standings. They were only 1 game behind Simplicity.
Well, and
if
that's
they would have
gotten
that win. Like, they have a unique opportunity to leapfrog both those teams and avoid the Crucible, and it's kind of being handed to them on a silver platter, right? Like, hey, these guys.
I wouldn't go that far. I do agree with you. If they had won, that would have tied them with Gale Force. They would have been below them on the map differential. Or I'm sorry, that would have tied them with Simplicity, but kept them below them on the map differential, right?
And tied with No Tomorrow as well, but yeah.
Right. They would have. You're right. I was looking at No Tomorrow when I said that. It would have tied them with No Tomorrow and kept them.
They all would have had 2 wins. Long story short.
Right. And it would have been a 3-way tie. That was the path to getting out of
the Crucible. Beat Simplicity, beat No Tomorrow, and go from there.
Not to say that they could not still do so. I think
it's just much harder now because they have no head-to-head
against. Right. They gotta beat Freedom.
They have no head-to-head competition left against their biggest rivals as far as competing to avoid the Crucible.
Right.
They have their match against No Tomorrow.
No Tomorrow, that's it.
now that and all the other teams they got to beat
yeah.
are better than both those teams. They
Yeah,
got to beat
yeah.
Gale Force. They got to beat Heroes Hearth, Team Freedom, Team 12. They still have to play those matches. Not going to be easy. I think the team has improved leaps and bounds. I think, personally, whoever they face in the Crucible, they're going to beat them. They're not going to lose their spot. I don't think they are. I think they're going to beat them. But they, especially since, like, you know, a team like XD got, Jin got poached from XD, right? Like, you know,
Well,
it's like
it wasn't poaching so much as
well, he's not on the roster
But
anymore.
we
He's
don't
playing
know-
in
we don't-
HGC.
So we don't know that Prismat is also moving that way. Like, I haven't seen anything that says Prismat's an official member yet now of Simplicity. That was the thing I was trying to figure out today, and I couldn't find anything. They're still listed. He's still listed as a temporary stand-in.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I don't know that they're gonna keep Prismat. They might. It's hard to tell.
We'll
Hard to
see.
tell.
My point being is I don't think the open division rosters are up to the task of beating LFM. I think the team has improved a ton, and I don't think any of those teams are taking games off tempo or even competing with them.
I don't know.
I think that's very fair to say.
It is, but then I'm in the same. Okay. Let's just for a minute.
Even the pro players that are on those open division rosters, when you're looking at like Talking Trees or Stray, none of them are the caliber players that are on that tempo.
Or the LFM.
I'm sorry. No. I'm talking about are of the caliber of the Temple Storm players, right? Now, and then there's the fact that those teams haven't been together as long as LFM. So, like, that's what I mean by when I say those teams aren't going to compete with Temple, whereas LFM, is competing with Temple to a degree. Yes, they lost 3-1.
Yeah. Okay, I see your point.
I'm saying that Temple would have smoked those open division. So that's what makes me think LFM would beat them.
Okay. All right. I can leave that there. I'm good with that. Okay.
Long story short, I think LFM looks a lot better. I think they're improving. I know I said this all the time for Even and Death, but I really, really do think that this roster is going to stay in the league. And I just want to see them succeed. And I hope they do. Like, I would like to see them avoid the Crucible, but I don't think I wish we had like something cool. Like they have like we'll have to talk to DB for like some Crucible odds and how, like, what kind of percentages they had to play in the Crucible pre that Simplicity match, like, and then what it is after post Simplicity match, because they had to have really hurt their chances of
I see what you're saying.
By losing in Simplicity.
And he does that. I'm sure we can ask him. He does the numbers, so he should have that number for us.
Because they had to have really hurt their chances of avoiding it. That being said, like I said, I think they've really improved. We've talked enough about LFM, so I think we can move on.
All right. So, any other NA points you want to bring up before we go into meta notes?
No.
Cool. Okay. All right. So, some interesting stuff out of the meta. We took a look at NA, EU, and Korea metas, and 4 out of 5 heroes are in all 3 metas. Those are Tyrael as the warrior, Malfurion is the support, and then Maiev and Genji as the assassins.
Maiev has kicked Greymane to the curb.
So I feel like the other thing we should point out here is this is just overall popularity, combining both the pick, the ban, and then we have the win percentages. So while you look at something like the Korean meta, where Tyrael... Oh, I'm sorry, that was the wrong one. Man, I had this all keyed up in my head. Oh, all right. Look at like Maiev. 50% pick rate, 50% ban rate in NA. Okay. She's involved in every game, but she's not necessarily played in every game. Or if you look at Korea, now this one blew my mind. Korea has 100% pick rate on Malfurion. 100% pick rate.
Wow. That is insane.
Right?
0 bans. Zero
bans.
Just now drafts. Just like straight up. He's gonna be healing for one of the 2 teams.
I should point out this was only last week's games.
Yeah, it's 1 week, but still, it's
part part 1, but like
it's 23 It was 23 matches, and he showed up in every single one of them. I'm looking at it right now.
Yep, it's crazy, isn't it? Now, the other thing that blew my mind is, again, in Korea, Sonya has a 69% pick rate, but only an 8% ban rate. But here's the thing. She has a 68% win percentage. If somebody's winning 68% of the time, you ban them. You don't let them through. You ban them. Okay? Hello? Like,
hey,
what
listen,
are you guys doing?
ETC is not that far behind. He's got a... Oh, sorry. I'm looking at the wrong win rate. My fault. My fault.
All good, man.
Looking at the
All
wrong
good.
number.
All good. So, a couple of interesting things. Genji also had an 82% pick rate in Korea. So, EU, Malfurion has an 87% pick rate. So those were all the big ones that jumped out at me. One of the only other things that I thought was really interesting, Blaze only has a 37% win rate in NA, but then he's picked or banned 86% of the time.
Now, I hate, so I love North American heroes, and I love North American esports, and I hate to crap on it, but it seems like sometimes we're kind of behind the curve, and just like, and this is just based off of numbers, like looking at the drafts, it's like, hey, we're still running the Tyrael Blaze meta from Western Clash that was like so strong at the Clash there. Meanwhile, like both EU and Korea, two regions notoriously known for having. Now, to be fair, we went to EU and had the stronger meta, so.
No, but I get where you're going, right?
But
EU
notoriously, EU and Korea
Sonya
are ahead of the curve compared to us, right? Like, and they were both picking Sonya and both finding success with Sonya, and we're like, yeah, Sonya's all right, but we're
gonna go Blaze.
We're sticking with Blaze. We're comfortable with Blaze, you know.
So
that's what worked a month ago.
Here's the other thing that killed me, okay? Malfurion, 87% pick rate in EU, 100% pick rate in Korea, only 66% pick rate in the US, or in NA. All right, that's only a little off, right? It's there, but it's
well,
a little
to be
off.
fair, he's actually getting banned in North America, right? Like, so it's a 33% ban rate versus a 4% and
which
a 0%
brings it up to like a
ban rate.
99%, right?
Yeah.
Here's the kicker. Here's where I was going with that. But when you look at Maiev, okay, Maiev has an 86% ban rate in Korea, a 66% ban rate in EU, and in NA we're like, screw it, let's roll the dice. A 50% pick rate.
You know what it is like in North America, there's like an unwritten rule, like an under the table handshake that like, hey, you guys get to play Maiev for one game this set, and then we get to play her for the next one, right? Like, cause like she's so much fun that we got to find a way to put her in the pro scene, right? Like,
right.
And then like some people are just like, nah, I'm not doing any of that shady stuff. You're not playing her at all. So that's why the other half is banning her. That's my tinfoil hat.
That's your tinfoil hat theory. All right. All right. So that's it for the meta this week. We'll keep updating that. Next week we should have better numbers because we'll have 2 weeks of games.
Yes.
All right. Preview time. We're gonna quickly go through the games, when they are, who's playing, what we picked in our challenge. This should be pretty quick though. Starting over in Korea, Friday, 4 a.m. Eastern, we have KSV Black versus Feliz. We both said 3-0 to this one. KSV Black, of course, dominating. And then 6 a.m. Eastern, because that game before it is not going to 5. Miracle versus Team Blossom. We both have Blossom winning 3-1. I feel like Miracle, since KSV picked up MVP Black, Miracle has definitely been on the decline.
You know, there's an interesting... You can make the argument, and we have no way to know for sure, but you can make the argument because Miracle used to, having the resources of because they're not sponsored now. Miracle is not sponsored.
Right.
Having the resources of being owned by an organization, having the constant scrim partner in formerly MVP Black.
Right.
That had to factor in to helping Miracle be a better team, right? That was the roster that went to the original Gold Club World Championship final,
Right.
In 2016. So now there were different players on the team then. They have made some changes, but I think that maybe that has something to do with it. Like maybe Miracle has taken such a far step back, because going into the season, we looked at Miracle and Blossom to kind of be trading blows for that that fourth place finish behind Tempest, Ballistics, and KSV Black. So they've really disappointed. They are playing worse than Gluck. They are right now just staying ahead of Felice and Ace to avoid the Korean Crucible. Like, I think that the reason why the roster is taking, and this is just my crazy theory, they've taken a step back is because they don't have KSV Blacks as a steady scrim partner as much. Maybe they're still scrimming them there here and there, but probably not as much, or maybe not at all, because maybe KSV, like, they want to prioritize playing some of the better teams in the region. That's how it works too, right? When you're an amateur team, you don't really get to scrim against the pro teams, because the pro teams don't gain anything from scrimming you. So
right.
There's something to be said there too for that. Like, maybe they're not really scrimming against the a really good roster now as much, because it's not seen as worth their time, worth the better roster's time. That maybe that factors into it as well. As along with the roster moves that were made, that really hurt them. Who knows? But I just, Blossom has proven to be the better squad. A team that was a 50-50 shot for who was going to be better than who. Blossom has taken a big step forward away from them.
Yep. So. Agreed. All right, and then at noon Friday Eastern, we have Leftovers versus Dignitas. You have Dig 3-0ing Leftovers, and I think they'll get a map. So it'll be 3-1.
So
I've
got nothing to add to that.
That's all right. The more contentious pick, Team LiQuid versus Tricked Esport later on that day at 2 Eastern. You have Team LiQuid winning 3-2. I think Tricked is going to win this over and take a 3-1 off of LiQuid.
Listen, I am going with my gut. I know LiQuid is behind Tricked in the standings, I believe. I'm going to double check that before I foot and mouth too hard.
I believe you are correct.
No, they are tied, and LiQuid's got them in map score. Foot and mouth firmly. That being said, listen, Tricked just lost to Diamond Skin. Maybe it was a get tricked moment. Maybe it wasn't. Team LiQuid almost beat Dig. I think Team LiQuid is playing much better, and I am leaning heavily into that. I think these two teams are on different trajectories. That's what I'm going with, and I'm sticking with it.
Fair enough. Then at 5 Eastern on Friday, we have LFM Esports taking on Team Freedom. We both have Freedom picked to win that. Sorry, Hero. We love you guys over at LFM, but Freedom. But I think LFM will get 1 map, and you have LFM getting 2 maps off of.
Listen, I'm not convinced that Team Freedom's not playing worse than before, and I'm fully on board with LFM playing a lot better. So, that's how I justify the extra map there.
Fair enough. And then at 7 p.m. Eastern. Sorry, I had to do math in my head real quick and not doing well. Last game of the night, Friday night, we have No Tomorrow versus Gale Force Esports. We both have GFE winning that game 3-1. Jumping into Saturday, 4 a.m. Eastern again, we have Team Ace versus Ballistics. Ballistics 3-0ing Ace there. And then we have Gluck versus Tempest at 6 a.m. Eastern. I have Tempest 3-0ing Gluck, and you think Gluck's going to take a game off of him? How dare you, sir? Come on. Really?
Yes, really. I think that Gluck will win 1 match because I don't know, because they're the 5th best team in Korea.
All right.
And because Tempest is the 3rd best team in Korea. And while it's a monumental gap between 3 and 5, I think they'll win 1 match, and that's that. And I'm sticking with it. And I've got nothing else to justify it. All right. I'm hedging my bets here that Tempest isn't going to sweep them.
Sas's dude, I'm bad with names today. Yes, I love Jay Street. He's been on the show. Awesome dude. I want nothing but great things for him. I don't think No Tomorrow can take GFE. Sorry, man. Dude, I yeah. All right, moving on. Noon Eastern on Saturday over in EU, we have Tricked Esport versus Fnatic. I have Fnatic winning that 3-2, and you have Fnatic winning that 3-1. So it's cool. Fnatic gets a win.
Yeah, either way, like I think I can't say much. Can't add much more to that. I think Fnatic's gonna win it.
And then 2 p.m. we have Zealots versus Method. We both agree that Zealots wins this, but I have a 3-1 and you have a 3-2. I do agree it could be close. It'll be interesting to see what happens there.
You got it backwards. I have the 3-1.
You're right.
3-2.
I do have it backwards. You are correct, sir. All right. Still not going to defend it. It's just going to be a good game either way.
Right.
All right. Over in North America at 5 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, we have one of my games of the weekend, Gale Force Esports versus Team 12. I know Gale Force is struggling, but they have moments of glory. I think they can take a map, but I think Team 12 is still going to dominate and win 3-1, and we both agree with that. But I think it should be fun to watch and should definitely be checked out. And then at 7 p.m. Eastern, the last game of the Saturday, we have Simplicity taking on Tempo Storm. You have Tempo Storm 3-0ing Simplicity. I think Simplicity can cheese hard enough to get at least one map off of Tempo Storm and make it a 3-1. Jumping over to Sunday.
Yeah, it's got nothing for you.
It's all right, man. It's all right. I just giving you a little pause just in case. Jumping over to Sunday, 4 a.m., we have in Korea, Feliz versus Miracle. This is one of those games that, how do I describe this? When you take the bottom teams and you have them play each other, you could be given a treat or you could be given a turd. One of those two things is going to happen. We both have Miracle winning. I have Miracle going 5 games at a 3-2, and you have them beating Feliz 3-1.
Yeah.
Ballistics versus... Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you're not wrong. I do think that Ace and Felice are a little bit of a ways behind Miracle. I think a little bit of a step ladder.
It's possible. It's hard to tell on any... Like, the bottom 3 in Korea... Even I would go even so far as to say the bottom 4 with Gluck. It's like it's so bizarre. Like Gluck will play really good one weekend and play like trash the next week. And so it's like, you know, hit or miss. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna address this in chat real quick. Soul Wildman. Wow, I'm struggling tonight. Pointing out that we love making predictions. Have we made any for Heroes of the Dorms? And do we have an episode on that? We have both done brackets. There is a bracket for the Trolls GG. You can find that on Twitter. It's the pinned tweet right now, at Trolls GG. You can join us, join our group. Also, we have not done an episode on that. We probably won't find time to jam a full episode in during HGC. But we definitely have brackets out there going over that. And you know what? As we get closer, I think from like the round of 16 on, we'll probably go over our predictions. Because the round of 64, man, that's 32 games will take a while.
Yeah, and I certainly can't provide much in-depth analysis about like UC.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know, UC like middle of nowhere, Texas.
But as we get closer to like the top 8, it's a little bit easier because it's less teams. You can watch some VODs. You can come up with something.
Yeah, like when it'll be certainly a lot better then, a lot more manageable.
And we will do that. We'll take that and we'll make sure that we do it. If not top 8, at least the top 4. All right, still in Korea. Last game of the weekend, 6 a.m. Ballistics versus Team Blossom. We both have Ballistics beating Blossom 3-1. Jumping over to the last sets in EU at noon Eastern, we have Method versus LiQuiud. This one had some people scratching their heads. You have Method winning 3-2. I have LiQuiud winning 3-2. It's going to be interesting. I'm going to leave it at that. You know what I tried to say in Discord? I really don't have a reason beyond I'm down on Method and I'm up on LiQuiud when compared to being down on Method. You know what I mean?
Listen, it's going to be an extremely competitive series, I think. I'm the one that's on the Methodist free falling, and also the one that was pushing hard for LiQuiud to being a much improved roster. I would not be surprised to see it go the other way and see LiQuiud win. I'm just hedging my bets on the team that I thought was better at the beginning of the season, and I still believe in them to a degree. In that Method is better than LiQuiud. But again, both these teams are on completely opposite trajectories right now. It seems like Method is free falling and LiQuiud is on the rise. Right. But that was just based off one game series, one match against Dignitas. Very small sample size. We're going to learn a lot about both these teams this weekend. So
absolutely. And then last game in EU, 2 p.m. Eastern, we have Fnatic versus Diamond Skin. We both have Fnatic winning. You're at 3-2, and I'm at 3-1. All right. And then the last games in NA, we have Tempo Storm versus No tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern. We both think Tempo is going to 3-0 No tomorrow. And then my last game of the weekend at 7 p.m. Eastern will be amazing to watch. Team 12 versus Heroes Hearth. You have Team 12 winning 3-1. I still have my boys in Team 12 winning, but it's going to be a 3-2.
So this brings us back to what I was talking about earlier, where I don't think Heroes Hearth has closed the gap with Team 12 and Freedom and Tempo to that degree. I think that they are a ways behind them. And then this also speaks to how I feel about how Team 12's kind of turned the corner, where they finally got that roster clicking the way it needs to be, where the chemistry is finally catching up to the talent on that roster. So it speaks to that as well, which is we both expect Team 12 to win. It's just a matter of one game. So I think we're both on the same track here.
Fair enough. And then rounding out our predictions, last week you did take the lead on me. You are at 30 points, and I'm sitting at 26. Yeah, it's close.
We got 4 weeks to go, so we got some time.
Right.
So it's close, and there's a lot of games to be played. But that being said, still confident in my ability to whoop you for this one.
We'll
see.
This part
of phase 1 too.
To be fair, Fringe did take the lead. He was in first place. You're in second place, and then I'm going blank on the third place.
Bahamut.
Bahamut, yes. So I'm like right behind you guys. Oh, there you go. There's auto bids for mid-season brawl, man. Look at that.
Hey.
You paged and he arrived. All right.
Well, not quite that. I was paging the Crucible odds for LFM, which are probably now sitting pretty over 90%, sadly. So, all right, let's we can do the amateur scene. Let's get it covered as we slowly run out of time.
All right, let's jump into amateur.
And the Mastermind Storm is awaiting them. Welcome to the paint train.
Kill the boss! Kill the boss! Can they do it? It's too much damage from me! And that's GG!
Alright, so amateur scene. EU Cup 7 finished up today, and it was crazy. Singularity lost to worst positioning before the semifinals, which set up worst positioning to go into the semifinals, beating ePunks 2-0. And then on the other side of the bracket, we had Terra's Rodzina again in the semifinals playing Granite Gaming. They lost 0-2, setting up a third place match between Terra Rodzina and ePunks. ePunks winning that 2-0. But then in probably the best open division final I've seen to date, we had Granite Gaming going up against worst positioning. I have those backwards. I apologize for people that are sticklers for home versus away. Worst positioning, though, it came down to game 3, and worst positioning couldn't quite finish it off. Granite Gaming won. So, dude, if you guys haven't seen that set, watch that set. EU Cup 7, the final 3 games were amazing. Setting up a really, really interesting set of standings. So Singularity is still sitting at number 1, right? But worst positioning did get in. in 7th place. So they just got in to the playoffs. Top 8 going into the playoffs, of course. They had to get, if I can do some quick math, they had to do that good to get in there. So congrats to worst positioning on getting into the playoffs. The EU Cup 7 the EU playoffs are going to be pretty crazy to watch.
Yeah,
all solid
start
teams.
April 2nd through April 4th.
Yep, 3 days for the playoffs. Not a 2-day, but a 3-day. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It was amazing. And then because we do the show on Tuesdays before NA Open Division runs, we have the results from Cup 6 for NA. XD finishing off EID 2-1 in the semifinals of one bracket. And then Monkus, who used to be SMV, beating Rouge-O 2-0. They have a 3rd place match between Rouge-O and EID. EID losing that 2-0. And the finals, XD 2-0s Monka S. Now this week, because of the drama around Twitch chat and the Monka symbol and Blizzard and Overwatch last week, they changed their name again. And so SMV that's no longer SMV, that's no longer Monka S, is now Area Please. They're in one semifinal match against EID. And then the other semifinal match is XD versus King's Gambit. And if I remember correctly, XD versus King's Gambit is playing first at 9 p.m. Eastern tonight. That's 20 minutes from now on the Blizz Heroes channel. Yes.
It's so hard to keep up with everything.
Dude,
in North America. I want to ask this. Can someone please let me, is EU having this much like constant change and player movement in their in the top end of their amateur scene? Because like this is ridiculous. And this is like this phase of North American Open Division is a prime example of why we have the roster locks that we currently have that are slowly loosening in the pro scene, but why we have them. Because like literally I can't like pick a favorite team and follow it because it isn't like a team next week or tomorrow for that matter.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
so I want to first, DB Smiley, thank you for the numbers. We'll mention those in a minute. But before we do that, yes, there have been a number of player changes in EU, but I have a hard enough time just keeping track of the teams at this point. I had to go and talk to the manager of old SMV just to make sure that it was just a name change to Area Please today. Because I was like, wait, hold on a minute. Like, there are in the amateur scene, and here's the storm, there's a lot of movement. But just like in HGC, well, similar to HGC, if you lose 2 players, if you lose more than 2 players, your points are gone. You have to keep 3 of the original members of the team to keep. So, but yes, there is probably not as much movement in EU because I don't like in EU. We didn't see what we just saw in NA, where potentially 2 Open Division teams are losing 2 of their players to HGC Pro teams.
Yeah.
Right. But yes, there is a lot of similar movement in the EU. Okay. Since we're still doing Open Division, let's go over the Crucible numbers that DB Smiley was kind enough to come and provide in chat. LFM has a 99.1% chance of going to the Crucible. No Tomorrow sitting in an 86.9% chance. So those 2 teams at this point with 4 weeks left, probably going, but there's a chance. Like Hero Physio said in chat, there's a chance. We do have Simplicity rounding out that group at 11.8% chance of going, and GFE at a 2.1% chance. Now, technically, only Tempo Storm is safe right now, and there's a chance that even Freedom or Team 12 could go to the Crucible. But realistically, like I always like talking to DB Smiley because that's the mathematically there's a chance. Realistically, that's probably not what you're gonna happen.
Right.
But there's a chance.
Like I said, like I was saying earlier, LFM's really got to be kicking themselves for not beating Simplicity. I think that would have made a huge difference. And even Simplicity at this point is relatively safe. So it's just, they've got to be kicking themselves, man. Up 2-1, not able to close out that series and really give themselves a real good shot. But, you know, like Hero said, there's a chance. There's a 0.9% chance.
Well, and it
so
may
less
go
than
better.
one.
If they win a game, it goes up.
Oh,
right?
yeah, then, you know, their odds increase.
Hero, we love you, man. We want to see you guys do well. We honestly do. And like Bahgz said, even if you go to the Crucible, he believes that you guys will get through unscathed. So, the last thing I want to go over before we round out our amateurs Heroes of the Dorm, we talked a little bit about at the beginning of the show. Just going to throw out there, anybody listening, check out the survival guide that was posted to Reddit. All the teams, all the videos, all sorts of information out there about watching Heroes of the Dorm. I was going to say observing, which is a weird way to say it. Definitely check it out. Definitely join our group if you want to. That is the pinned tweet right now, and I'll probably do trolls.gg/HOTD for Heroes of the Dorm. Set up that short link to go ahead and link you to our group as well. Bahgz, can you take a minute and go over that email feedback we got?
Can do. I will get my bathrobe and my pipe, and I will crack open this email book and read us a beautiful email sent to us by WonderBreadX. Guys,
is it strange that I knew exactly what you meant when you said your bathrobe, that I knew the pipe was coming next?
Yeah, and like I'm gonna sit in my armchair next to a fire.
Yes. That's exactly what I was just picturing in my head. That's frightening.
I'm probably going to paraphrase this a little bit, but bear with me, guys. All right. We got some wonderful feedback from listener WonderBreadX. Guys, love the show. Was so thankful I found it on a Reddit post. So my idea for the HGC season that I would love to see is not a best of 2 or best of 5, but a best of 3. Feeling good right now. That's what I said. With the last game being a weekly set map for all teams to have to play if they need a tiebreaker. AKA, you pick your first 2 maps, but you're pigeonholed into whatever the third map is, say Towers of Doom or Infernal Shrines. The map could be set by team agreement at the beginning of the season, similarly to how we no longer play in Warhead Junction. That is permabanned, right? So all the teams have to agree on what that third map would be. Or of the season, or the community would pick the map from the rotation a week before the matches, with a coin toss for who picks first. Picking first in the tiebreaker, that is. I feel this would help put teams to try harder to get the 2-0, but if they don't, it's there is a little bit of a random tiebreaker already set up, so it's not stuck as a 2-0. Also, if they go with this format in HGC, we can get a few more games in each week, so maybe all teams can do 2 matches a week, and you kind of get rid of that 1 match for a team per week, and that gives it a big advantage over the team that has to practice for 2 matches. So, and maybe instead of EU only getting 2 matches in a weekend, maybe they get 3, or however you would balance that out.
Right.
Those are my thoughts, and I'd love to hear what you guys think. So keep up the great work, WonderBreadX. Well, so, LiQuid, what are your thoughts?
Well, I was just gonna say, a best of 3 is a strange number, because then you'll get there was cheese, right? But if everybody has to play it, and then Blizzard could maybe use it as a way to, like, say, this particular map doesn't get a lot of pro play, so we're going to make this the third map, and you have to play this, right? Something like that could be interesting. I don't know. I struggle. Like, I keep coming back to, I think maybe the best of 5 is the best we could get, at least in the regular season, and maybe something like the best of 2 would be better for the round robin week before we go to BlizzCon type thing, you know? I don't know. It's a weird situation to be in.
Well, here's my opinion on the matter. I think that the third map is very cool sounding. I don't think that would be met with a lot of popularity from competitive players, and here's why. I think it takes away an interesting dynamic of strategy for the players, where they know what teams are better at what, how they plan for playing up against the team. we as fans, it's kind of cool because it levels the playing field a bit.
Right.
And but players, I don't think they would like the random coin flip for a first pick on a map that's like you lose the first pick. In Heroes, drafting is very, very important, and first pick is very, very important. So it's almost too big of an advantage to give away for free when say you're playing on a neutral map. So I'm not sure I can completely dive in with the third game being a steady map, but I really like the best of 3 idea. And now I like it as a viewer, and I know the players don't like it because in 5 weeks of games, every match counts a lot in the standings, right? And every map counts a lot, and it kind of sucks to get cheesed 1 week and lose a match, and that could be the difference between going to a clash and not going to a clash because you got cheesed by an opponent that you feel like you're better than, and in a best of 5 it would have been proven.
Right.
But I think as a viewer, I think for regular season best of 3s would be better.
Okay.
Some for digesting the content, I think it would be better.
Okay.
Personally, that's me. So I would like to see it in a best of 3. But that being said, I want and this is only for regular season games. Like, the NFL is the exception to the rule, but in every other traditional sport, they play baseball. They play series for travel. They play 162 games, and for travel reasons, they play series against teams as they travel. But everyone else, it's 1 game during the regular season, and then in the playoffs, it's a best of 7 or a best of 5, depending on the sport. Right? They do a series to determine the best team. And I would like to see in the HGC they do a best of 3. I think it would provide a better viewership experience. And when it comes playoff time to do step ladder playoff or midseason brawl or BlizzCon, you're doing best of 5s. When you're doing your knockout stages, right? At BlizzCon or the midseason brawl, those are best of 5s at a minimum, and your grand finals a best of 7. Probably not with a 1-game advantage.
Right.
I like that, and I like seeding the tournament with a round robin in the beginning of those tournaments. I love that, and I want those. I like it when those round robins are best of 2s, or even probably not, for time's sake you can't do best of 3s in the round robin, but I love that. That's great. But during the regular season, I like best of 3s because it's
3s or 5s.
I think it just provides a better viewership experience because say you're an EU guy and you want to watch NA. It's it's late, man. That's 10 matches, and there's breaks in between, and the drafts are 10 to 15 minutes long themselves. And it takes a long time. It's not like
dude, you're preaching to the choir there. I wake up and watch Korea and go all the way through NA, so I get it. Let me ask this question because DB Smiley had a good point. And you follow Overwatch way more than I do. How does Overwatch deal with it? Are the maps randomly assigned? Do they pick? Like, how does that work?
I'm not 100% sure how actually Overwatch League does it. I know in Apex that there was a map pool. They have a map pool that I think that's set like it was set like each week. But there was pick and bans on the maps.
Okay.
But that's interesting too. DB makes a good point. You could just assign maps in a best. So you could kind of have the players pick a map pool, and then the maps are kind of assigned. That'd make it interesting too. It does kind of take away from the dynamic that makes a little bit that makes heroes, right? Because then you're kind of I don't know, you're seeing less maps, and the game's designed around having a ton of maps.
Right. Yeah. If then it becomes League, right? If you only play 1 map all the time,
or 2, yeah.
Right. So
I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is. I just don't. I'm just not a high enough level of a player to say. I can just speak from a viewer's point of view.
It's an interesting conundrum. And that could be interesting, randomly assigning maps each series.
Ooh, that would certainly change up prep, right? You still
you can't prep anymore. You have to prep for everything.
You what you like to run on that map.
Right.
But Interesting. And you kind of like know what the other team does. It would make for some interesting different strategy. I could be down with that. Just randomly, like just like a computer generator like spits out
There's no way
like Hours of Doom, Infernal Shrines, and Dragon Shire. And if it goes to game 4, you're playing here. And if it goes to game 5.
All right. I like this even more. So you allow map bans. So each team gets a map ban, and then you just roll. And whatever you get, you get. So the problem with that is I don't think players would ever go for that. But it could be interesting. It would be a way to get a best of 2.
Yeah.
So
it would be interesting.
All right.
I
think, unless you have anything else, we're going to wrap it up there.
No, I think that's it. We can call it a show, buddy.
All right. Thank you all for listening to Trollin HGC, a weekly podcast about Heroes of the Storm eSports, a member of the Trolls.gg Entertainment Network. We stream live on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/TrollsGG, every week on Tuesdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific. Bahgz, where can people find you?
Guys, you can follow me on Twitter at BahgzHGC. Tweet out pictures of my dogs, whatever I'm happen to be doing around town that day, as well as retweeting a lot of esports stuff and stuff I catch on Reddit. You can also watch me stream on twitch.tv/Bahgz. That's on the back burner right now as I'm working on the house, so it's probably not going to be a thing again until literally we're in the house and like I have a whole room that is just dedicated to the studio. So that'll be fun. But that being said as well, if you enjoyed tonight's shows, guys, I also do another show. It's called The Weekly Blizz, where we talk about all of Blizzard's other esports offerings. Hearthstone, StarCraft, Warcraft, Overwatch. My buddy Guaz and I went to high school together. We like to rib each other, go back and forth, argue over petty little things. But we also like to talk about Blizzard esports, and he's a huge Overwatch fan. So if you're into Blizzard's biggest esport right now, Overwatch League, that's a great place to check that out. This past week, we went into the Valiant drama with the Weird Agilities YouTube video where they like threatened to kick him off the team in an in-and-out parking lot, which is pathetic. And then we talked a little bit about what's going on with the Dallas Fuel and the drama that's going on there. It's a great place to catch hot button topics all across the Blizzard esports universe. So be sure to give it a check out. LiQuiuD, where can people find you?
So your best bet, just follow me on Twitter at LiQuiuDGG. I tweet whenever I'm about to do anything interesting, including this show, the Nexus Trolls, or anything else that I find interesting around the world of Heroes of the Storm East. Thank you, all of our Patreon supporters. If you enjoy the show, you can support us in a variety of ways, including Patreon over at patreon.com/TrollsGG. Thank you to our Chieftain, Super Dave, who has committed to the Chieftain tier and always supports our show, including now he is a writer for the Trolls.gg website. So follow us on Twitter at Trollin HGC for show announcements and Heroes of the Storm esports news. You can follow us on Twitch, YouTube, iTunes. We're on Google Play, Stitcher, all other podcast sources. Leave us a review anywhere you think of. We love seeing reviews. We love figuring out ways we can improve the show. Visit our website, www.trolls.gg, and read all the articles there or catch up on Podcasts on Demand. I did go ahead and fix a couple links for everybody. So trolls.gg/HOTD for Heroes of the Dorm now leads to our Heroes of the Dorm bracket group, and trolls.gg/challenge goes to this week's challenge forum. Go ahead and get your picks in there. See if you have what it takes to catch up to Bahgz or even Fringe Average, who's currently in the lead with 31 points. Need to get in touch with us. Twitter DMs are open, or you can email us, trollin@trolls.gg. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, chat, as always, and we'll see you in the Nexus.
Peace out.